To those predators who still believe they can exploit, abuse, and walk away unscathed, your time is running out. The world is changing, and you will not outrun the consequences of your actions forever.
Fame is the fastest addiction in Hollywood, and some stars overdosed. One bad choice, one scandal, and in a single moment, everything collapsed. Careers that took decades to build were erased almost overnight. From red carpets to personal freefall, these 8 figures did not simply fade out of Hollywood. They self-destructed in full view of the public. Their downfall was so complete that even the people who once admired them most eventually turned away. Number 1. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein did not lose his power slowly. He exploded with it. For decades, Weinstein was not just a film producer. He decided who walked the red carpet and who disappeared before their name ever reached a poster. Oscars, film festivals, career-defining roles, all of it revolved around his phone calls. If Weinstein liked you, doors opened. If he didn't, Hollywood closed. No explanation required. And then there was a place everyone knew about, but no one dared to name. The Room, a hotel room where private meetings took place. No schedule, no assistants, no witnesses. Just hearing those 2 words was enough for many actresses to understand this was not a meeting. It was a test. Saying no in that room often meant saying no to an entire career. Hollywood knew, and Hollywood stayed silent. For more than 20 years, whispers moved through hallways, parties, and casting offices. No one was surprised. No one stopped it. Until the curtain fell, and it fell fast. One investigation, with names, dates, and testimonies that lined up too perfectly to deny, erased Weinstein's power almost overnight. Within 48 hours, his company cut ties. Allies vanished. Praise was deleted. His name was removed from credits. Films already in production were shut down, as if simply being associated with him had become dangerous. Then came the law. The one thing Weinstein believed would never touch him. In 2020, he was convicted in New York and sentenced to decades in prison. A second conviction followed in Los Angeles. The man who once controlled the Oscars, who made Hollywood hold its breath with every phone call, could no longer control his own daily schedule. The coldest part was not that he went to prison. It was how quickly Hollywood erased him. There was no collective apology. No one stood up to say, "We knew." There was only silence, and a desperate attempt to pretend Harvey Weinstein had never existed. And that moment revealed the harshest truth of all. Weinstein did not fall because Hollywood changed. He fell because Hollywood no longer needed to protect him. Number 2. Mischa Barton. The O.C. made Mischa Barton the face of youth and fragility in early 2000s Hollywood. As Marissa Cooper, she became America's teenage queen. Beautiful, vulnerable, and everywhere. Magazine covers, red carpets, living rooms across the country, week after week. Hollywood saw a future movie star. The public saw the symbol of an entire generation. But Mischa Barton's collapse did not begin with a failed role. It began when her private life was turned into a weapon. After leaving the O.C., Barton became the center of a serious scandal. A former boyfriend secretly recorded intimate moments and attempted to sell the footage. Barton publicly called it what it was: revenge porn. She took the case to court and won. The images were returned. The attempt was stopped, but the damage was already done. Even when the law was on her side, her name was dragged into gossip, speculation, and tabloid hunger. Privacy was gone, control was gone, and Hollywood was watching. The unraveling continued in full view of the public. In 2007, Barton was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Overnight, the narrative shifted. Headlines stopped talking about talent and started tracking behavior. Every stumble became news. Every moment became content. Barton later admitted to struggling with substance abuse and mental health issues. Instead of news scripts, she faced court dates, rehab, and relentless scrutiny. There was no pause button, no protected space to recover. Her career did not end with a dramatic explosion. It faded through something colder. Hollywood simply moved on. Major roles disappeared. Invitations slowed. The teen star image no longer fit, and the industry did not wait for her to heal. Misha Barton did not lose her talent. She lost timing, protection, and the right to grow up in private before the world decided who she was. Her story leaves behind a bitter truth. In Hollywood, sometimes a single violation of privacy is enough for a career to slip permanently out of reach. Number 3. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was the definition of American success. An NFL legend, a movie star, a commercial icon with a smile America trusted. He was not just famous. He was welcomed into living rooms across the country as a symbol of victory, discipline, and the perfect American dream. And then, in 1994, that image collapsed in a matter of days. Simpson was charged in connection with the brutal murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman. Before the case even reached a courtroom, the nation was pulled into a moment unlike anything it had ever seen before. A slow-speed police chase, a white Bronco, broadcast live on national television. Millions of people watching in silence as a national icon fled from the Los Angeles Police Department in real time. It was the exact moment America realized something had broken. When Simpson finally surrendered, it was not a moment of dignity or closure. It was collective shock. The trial that followed split the country in two. Race, celebrity, justice, and power collided on live television for months. Simpson was acquitted in criminal court, but his career was already over. The moment that Bronco appeared on screen, Hollywood shut its doors. No more films, no more endorsements, no place left in public life. Even outside the courtroom, the verdict did not save him from erasure. O.J. Simpson did not just lose fame. He lost the right to ever be seen as a hero again. From that day forward, his name became inseparable from one of the darkest scandals in American history. A reminder that in Hollywood and in America, once the image shatters on live television, there is no verdict powerful enough to put it back together. Number 4. Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes was once the embodiment of pure joy on American television. The brightest child star Nickelodeon had ever produced. The face of The Amanda Show. Funny, fearless, quick on her feet. A girl who made an entire generation grow up laughing. Hollywood saw a future queen of comedy. Audiences saw innocence that seemed endless. But when Amanda reached adulthood, everything began to slip out of control. Her downfall did not arrive in a single explosive scandal. It unfolded slowly and publicly. Substance abuse, reckless driving, petty theft, public nudity, disturbing and incoherent posts on social media. The headlines shifted from talent to crisis, from success to concern, depression, severe mental health struggles. Repeated hospitalizations and rehab stays followed one after another. The industry no longer knew how to approach her, or whether it was even safe to try. In 2013, Amanda Bynes was placed under a legal conservatorship controlled by her parents. It was a quiet but devastating milestone, a clear signal that her career had come to a complete halt. Studios stepped back. Projects vanished. By the mid-2010 seconds, she officially walked away from acting to focus on treatment and recovery. For nearly a decade, she lived far from the spotlight that once defined her life. Amanda Bynes did not lose her talent. She lost stability. She lost protection. She lost the safety net that should have existed for a child who grew up too fast in front of the camera. And her story leaves behind an uncomfortable question. When the laughter of a child star fades, who is truly responsible? The child who broke down, or the system that applauded for years and forgot it had a duty to protect her? Number 5. Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase was once the embodiment of American comedy, a founding star of Saturday Night Live, the sharp, sarcastic face of 1,970 Seconds satire, the box office guarantee behind National Lampoon's Vacation. For years, Chevy Chase represented confidence, charm, and creative power, a man who could walk into any project and instantly command attention. Hollywood believed he was irreplaceable. But Chevy Chase's collapse did not come from audiences. It came from the people who had to work with him. Behind the laughter was a man who grew increasingly difficult to control. Angry outbursts, substance abuse, crude behavior, and repeated reports of racist language. The tension started early at Saturday Night Live, where Chase was already viewed as an ego too large for a show built on collaboration. The reputation followed him quietly but relentlessly. Talented, yes, but difficult, unpredictable, exhausting. Years later, the unraveling became public during his time on Community. What had once been whispered backstage turned into open conflict. Arguments with cast members, clashes with writers, disruptive behavior on set, remarks that made entire crews uncomfortable. These were no longer rumors. They became production problems. The breaking point came when Chevy Chase exited Community. It was not announced as a scandal. There was no dramatic fallout. But within the industry, the message was clear. Hollywood had made its decision. His career did not end with one explosive incident. It ended with something colder. The loss of trust. No more leading roles. No major projects. No public blacklist. People simply stopped calling. His old films still play. The laughter still exists on reruns. But the man who once made America laugh now survives mostly as a memory. Chevy Chase did not lose his talent. He lost something far more important in Hollywood. The willingness of others to work with him. And when that disappears, even the loudest laughter is no longer enough to save a career. Number 6. Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore was the embodiment of danger on the Hollywood screen. In the 1,990 seconds, he appeared in some of the decade's most intense films: Natural Born Killers, Heat, Saving Private Ryan. With a gaunt face, unstable eyes, and a voice that seemed to carry violence with it, Sizemore did not have to act dangerous. He was danger. Directors trusted him because when he stepped into a frame, the film became more real, more brutal, and more unsettling. Hollywood saw him as an essential supporting actor for its darkest stories. But the core collapse of Tom Sizemore did not happen on screen. It unfolded in a private life that was spiraling out of control. Addiction followed him for years, bringing arrests, legal trouble, and increasingly reckless behavior. He was repeatedly detained for drug possession, including a 2019 case involving multiple illegal substances. Yet the most damaging blow came in 2018, when actress Kirsten Pike filed a lawsuit accusing Sizemore of sexually harassing her when she was just 11 years old on the set of Natural Born Killers. Sizemore denied the allegation, and the case was later dismissed. Still, the accusation sent shockwaves through the industry and left a permanent stain on his public image. The unraveling became public and unforgiving. On the set of Shooter, Sizemore was accused of being intoxicated, causing an accident, and injuring a stunt performer. That incident led to another lawsuit, and this time the consequences were immediate. Tom Sizemore was fired from the project. For Hollywood, this was no longer about talent or performance. It was about risk. Studios hesitated. Insurance costs rose. Casting calls slowed, then stopped. Tom Sizemore's career did not end in a single dramatic moment. It ended through a long pattern of self-destruction. He did not lose his ability to act. He admitted as much himself in memoirs and interviews. But addiction eroded everything else. His reliability, his discipline, his trustworthiness. From a sought-after character actor, Sizemore slipped into smaller roles, fringe projects, and eventually faded from the center of Hollywood without any clear goodbye. Tom Sizemore was not erased for lack of talent. He was pushed out because Hollywood no longer tolerated a star whose chaos arrived every time the cameras started rolling. Number 7. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once the embodiment of power and discipline on the Hollywood screen. Before the superhero era exploded, Snipes had already carved the path with Blade, a cold, lethal warrior, precise martial arts, absolute control in every movement. Through the 1,990 seconds and early 2000s, he was a true A-list action star, box office appeal, distinct presence, an actor who seemed unshakable the moment he stepped into frame. Hollywood believed Wesley Snipes was untouchable. His downfall did not come from a failed role. It came from a direct collision with the United States government. Between 1,999 and 2004, Snipes was accused of failing to file federal tax returns and conspiring to defraud the government through fringe tax theories. Among them was the claim that you, citizens were not required to pay federal income tax. According to prosecutors, he also attempted to reclaim millions of dollars in refunds using fraudulent financial instruments. This was not an accounting error. It was a deliberate decision repeated over multiple years. The collapse unfolded on two fronts at once, inside the courtroom and on the film set. During the production of Blade, Trinity, Snipes became the center of what would later be described as one of Hollywood's most infamous behind-the-scenes stories. He was accused of refusing to cooperate, avoiding direct communication with the director, and speaking only through handwritten notes. He reportedly appeared on set only for close-up shots, while many action scenes were handled by stunt doubles. Crew members claimed he frequently arrived impaired from marijuana use. The working environment became hostile, tense, and expensive. Exactly the kind of situation Hollywood avoids at all costs. The consequences followed swiftly. In 2010, Wesley Snipes was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $5 million in fines. The action star who once dominated the box office vanished from Hollywood just as the superhero genre he helped pioneer surged forward without him. When Snipes was released in 2013, the industry had moved on. The brand was gone. The trust was gone. The major roles had passed. Wesley Snipes did not lose his career because he lacked talent or because audiences turned against him. He lost it to an illusion of control. The belief that fame was powerful enough to place him above the law and outside collective discipline. And in Hollywood, there is one rule that never changes. You can be the one who opens the door, but miss your step once, and the lights will not wait for you. Finally, Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens was not just an actor. He was Pee Wee Herman, a strange but lovable children's character who became a complete pop culture universe. Films, television, toys, merchandise, Pee Wee was everywhere, and Paul Reubens became inseparable from the role that defined his life. He stepped directly into the childhood of America and became a symbol of safety, innocence, and familiarity for millions of families. Then, in 1991, everything collapsed in a single night. Reubens was arrested in a personal incident at an adult movie theater in Florida. The incident did not involve harm to anyone else, but it was enough to shatter the image the public had trusted. During the investigation, police discovered that he owned a large collection of vintage and artistic adult films and photographs. More serious allegations, including possession of child pornography, were investigated and ultimately dismissed. But by then, it no longer mattered. The media had already chosen its version of the story. The fallout was immediate and absolute. The boundary between the man and the character completely collapsed. Television networks pulled reruns. Film projects were frozen. Pee Wee Herman, America's beloved children's icon, vanished overnight. There was no long public trial, no space for explanation, just a clean, cold erasure. Paul Reubens withdrew from the spotlight and chose silence over confrontation. Years later, he slowly returned through voice work, supporting roles, and carefully framed nostalgic appearances, including Pee Wee's Big Holiday. His talent never disappeared, but the cultural moment never fully returned. In 2023, Paul Reubens passed away after a long battle with cancer, closing the chapter quietly. He did not lose his creativity. He lost timing, context, and above all, forgiveness. And the story of Paul Reubens stands as a chilling reminder of Hollywood's harshest truth. When a character becomes bigger than the human being behind it, even a small crack can make that entire world disappear forever.